Hello everyone, welcome to another interesting and informative session of the Analyst. In today's video, we are going to discuss 5 important topics from the perspective of the UPSC examination as featured in today's Hindu and Indian Express. The topics are as follows. We will begin our discussion by understanding various uses of artificial intelligence as well as serious concerns associated with it. Then we will study in detail about government's flagship healthcare scheme AYUSHMAN Bharat and various shortcomings faced by the scheme. After that, we will try to understand what is Anthropocene epoch and why it is in the news. It will be followed by developing understanding about liquid funds and their advantages over fixed deposits. Towards the end, we will study about President's standards and colors as awarded to Indian's Air Force. The handout for the discussion will be available in the description of the video for your effective revision. So let's begin. Recently, the Election Commission of India has taken several steps to prevent the misuse of artificial intelligence in the upcoming general election, which has brought the evergreen issue of artificial intelligence being a double-edged sword at the forefront of the news. By double-edged sword, it means that artificial intelligence has several possible benefits, but at the same time, it has several concerning challenges associated with it. This debate forms an important component of your GS3 paper under the theme of Science and Technology and Artificial Intelligence. So let's first try to understand what is this artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence is defined as use of computer and machine learning to perform several tasks which normally requires a certain level of human intelligence, such as writing text, generating images like paintings, or developing opinions based on previous observations. For example, an OTT platform based on algorithm suggesting you to watch an action movie because of the data inputs which shows that you have certain liking for such action movies. Thus, this artificial intelligence as a tool has several possible benefits for the governance of the country, such as it can enhance the service delivery, where we can do AI-based direct benefit transfers under Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme, which will not only reduce the cost of transaction but at the same time will reduce the leakages. Then it can increase the productivity of the social welfare schemes. So let's say, for example, during the pandemic time, we can utilize such artificial intelligence tool to predict the requirement of vaccine by the people and at the same time to ensure continuous supply of such vaccine through the process of automation. Then just imagine that you want to launch a new business, but on the very same day you have certain prior commitments towards your family, such as celebrating the birthday of your loved one. So you direct this artificial intelligence tool to take license approval, then to apply with all the documents and also perform automatic transaction. So by the time you reach back home, you have started a new business using such artificial intelligence tool, and these processes can enhance the ease of doing business for you. At the same time, with the use of such AI applications, we can prepare ourselves much better for disasters leading to risk reduction. For example, we can predict the climate change which is taking place or the melting of the glacier, or the rise of sea level. And with all these data inputs, we can actually significantly reduce the biodiversity loss. For this purpose itself, the United Nations has recently launched an artificial intelligence based World Environment Situation Room. Then, this artificial intelligence can be used to improve the healthcare infrastructure in our country. By doing what? By digitization of health record, by predicting epidemics, by providing telemedicine, as well as regulating mental health. For example, recently, DeepMind, which is an artificial intelligence tool developed by Google, predicted or analyzed more than 200 million of protein structure, thus saving more than 1,000 million man years of work. Also, we can utilize the artificial intelligence for better urban planning and city management, such as we can integrate the geospatial data for our city planning, or we can predict the peak hours of traffic for better transport management. Then this AI can also empower the cyber security system, where we can deploy the machine learning algorithms to create a sound security infrastructure. And this system will keep on improving itself automatically by realizing and improving from the previous anomalies. Also, we are already in the process of creating large language models such as ChatGPT, which can be effectively used to rejuvenate the lost art forms, music, paintings, etc. Who knows, we might be able to decipher the texts of Indus Valley civilization, thus further enhancing our traditional knowledge. With all these possible benefits, the artificial intelligence has become the word on everyone's mouth. But at the same time, it has certain associated challenges, such as issues of cyber security. Why artificial intelligence can lead to issues in cyber security? Because such artificial intelligence tools can be deployed to manipulate sensitive data, and with that we can create several social issues, and we can also compromise the security of important institutions. For example, recently there was an AI based cyber attack on Kundankulam nuclear plant. All this can also lead to infodemic, or manipulation of larger public by highly convincing misinformation, such as the issue of deep fakes. Such issues can have dire consequences. For example, imagine that there is a video circulating on social media of a political leader of high stature. And in that video, this political leader is asking from the public during election time to collect funds for some natural disaster, or spreading enmity between two communities. Such fake but looking like real and highly convincing videos can be generated by using artificial intelligence tools in the matter of seconds, such as using AI tool like Gemini, which was launched by Google. All this can also lead to the invasion of privacy, as it was observed in the Cambridge Analytica case, which ultimately violates your rights under Article 21 of the Constitution, as held under the landmark judgment of K.S. Putta Swamy case of 2017. Also, there are issues because these artificial intelligence, they lack any kind of emotional quotient, where they lack the ability of deep analysis or understanding of a particular aspect of human life, which can ultimately make them take certain extreme actions, even though those actions can be correct according to the input of the artificial intelligence, but they cannot be morally correct. Thus, this artificial intelligence also has a lot of ethical issues, such as mitigation of biases, where the prejudices held by the mankind can also be transferred to these artificial intelligence tools. For example, as per a recent report, such artificial intelligence language models underrepresent the views of the minority section of the society, because they have less data inputs from such section of society. Then all this can also create AI chasm or technological have and have nots. For example, the poor countries or low income countries, they do not have enough resources to create such artificial intelligence models, which can ultimately increase the issue of inequality and lead to further concentration of wealth. Also, keep this in mind that this automation process about which we are talking about can lead to several job losses, which can significantly impact the labor intensive industries in our country who are already facing the issue of high unemployment. Also, these issues are further compounded by the lack of holistic approach among the countries to take a uniform measure and make a uniform platform to regulate the artificial intelligence across the countries. Thus, to address these challenges, the Government of India has taken several steps in the recent past, such as launching the National Data Governance Framework and Policy, which aims to secure the data of the user. For this purpose, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023 was enacted, which recognizes the right of an individual to protect its data and also laid down the framework for data localization in the country. It also creates Data Protection Board Authority to prevent such data breaches, and if it is performed by some corporation, it implies hefty penalty of 250 crores on them. Then AI for Bharat initiative has been launched by IIT Madras, where we are trying to create AI based language models for various regional languages which exist in our country. Also, the IT Ministry has issued several guidelines recently where it has directed the AI generated companies to take permission of the government before launching any untested AI model in the market. Then, recently, the government launched the Artificial Intelligence Mission in a mission mode scheme which will be applicable from 2024 to 2029, with the corpus of more than 10,000 crore, which will help to fund the private companies to set up their AI computing capacity. With this, the India aims to take a leadership role in producing graphic processing units. Keep this in mind that like any other technological advancement, even artificial intelligence has two sides of the coin. It has immense capability to transform human lives if used in the positive direction. But at the same time, as we have seen, there are several ethical and legal issues which shall be dealt with utmost precaution. With these suggestions, we move forward to the next news of the day. As per a recent report, 54% of the beneficiaries under AYUSHMAN Bharat use the scheme to access private healthcare. Such issues associated with the Ayushman Bharat scheme forms an important component of your GS2 paper under the theme of health, government policies and interventions. So let's first try to inquire the provisions of government's flagship health initiative Ayushman Bharat, which was launched in the year 2018, which aims to provide universal health care to poor and vulnerable section of the society by providing health cover of rupees 5 lakh per family per year, thus making it the world's largest publicly funded health scheme. At the same time, such insurance covers all medical and surgical procedures for almost all health conditions, providing 1949 packages dealing with several diseases such as cancer, orthopedics, mental disorders, cardiac disease, etc. Also, the beneficiaries under the scheme are decided on the basis of socio-economic caste census 2011 based on specific criteria of occupational and social deprivation. Then it provides for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. What do we understand by secondary? It means that the hospitals has a certain level of specialty by the provisions of medicine and gynecology. By tertiary care, we understand that the hospital provides advanced level of health care such as cancer treatment or orthopedics, etc., as well as neurosurgery. Thus, this scheme aims in creation and improvement of long-term public healthcare infrastructure with an outlay of more than 60,000 crores over 5 years. Ayushman Bharat is a centrally sponsored scheme, which means that the funding is in the ratio of 60:40, where the 60% of the fund is provided by the central government and 40% of the fund is provided by the state government. However, this ratio for northeastern and Himalayan states stand at 90:10. Then the Ayushman Bharat scheme provides for an IT platform under Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, where it aims to create digital public health IDs for all citizens, which will ultimately lead to identification of beneficiary and impanelment of hospitals. Then it has a network of more than 27,000 impaneled hospitals across the country, and keep this data in mind that 58% of these impaneled hospitals are government hospitals. The scheme also provides for portability, which means that the beneficiary of Ayushman Bharat can avail this scheme in any state across the country, which is very helpful for the migrant workers as well as to deal with certain emergency situations. Also, the scheme has a dedicated cadre of workforce called as Arogya Mitras, which assist the beneficiaries in their document verification or claiming of the submissions, etc. Also, the scheme has a national anti-fraud unit where certain modern technologies are used to prevent the misuse of funds directed under Ayushman Bharat. As we can see from the table, the cumulative number of Ayushman cards has increased significantly and reached to 30 crore people by the year of 2023. Thus, scheme has immensely contributed to assist the public healthcare infrastructure in our country. It has significantly helped in reducing the cost on health by the people, thus reducing their out-of-pocket expenditure. which has helped a lot of people to not dwell into the direction of further impoverishment and debt. It has also increased the health seeking behavior of the people and has also led to increase in the bed occupancy rate and revenue generation of public hospitals, especially in the rural areas. Thus, it has helped more than 15 crore families. But at the same time, despite these significant achievements, the scheme is facing several loopholes. Issues such as reported by Indian Express, where it showed that 54% of patients and 66% of the total expenditure under the scheme was directed towards private hospitals. While, as we studied earlier, that 58% of the hospitals impaneled are government hospitals, which shows that there exists poor public health infrastructure which directs the people to avail expensive healthcare under private hospitals, thus ultimately leading to their high out-of-pocket expenditure. At the same time, there exists supply side constraint or uneven distribution of public healthcare infrastructure, such as shortage of such impaneled hospitals in tribal and remote areas. Then there is a reimbursement issue where the funds by central and state governments are not provided on the time to these government hospitals, who have complained about lack of funds and effective packages for these hospitals to implement AYUSHMAN Bharat scheme. At the same time, there are frauds and abuses of these funds under the scheme which takes place. For example, as per a CAG report, more than 7.5 lakh beneficiaries were linked to one single mobile number. All these issues are further compounded by the issue of federalism, where several states such as West Bengal, Odisha have refused to implement Ayushman Bharat and rather have launched their own parallel health schemes. This ultimately impacts the across the country portability of Ayushman Bharat and deprive the beneficiaries to use the provision of the schemes anywhere in the country. Thus, as our constitution directs us under Article 47 to improve the public health in the country, following steps shall be taken, such as providing health sector grants to local bodies to improve the public healthcare infrastructure at grassroots level. Also, we should increase the budgetary outlay to at least 3% of the GDP as it was envisaged under National Health Policy 2017. Then we should improve the primary healthcare infrastructure to prevent secondary and tertiary level of healthcare. And for that purpose, every state shall strive to create public health management cadre. Then we can strengthen our disease surveillance system to focus more upon curative healthcare rather than preventive healthcare. Also, we can use artificial intelligence and big data analytics to check the frauds which are taking place, and such frauds can be further brought down by the creation of digital health ID cards. Also, there exists the need of expansion of the scheme to cover more disease and bring more beneficiaries under the blanket of Ayushman Bharat. With these noble and innovative suggestions, we move forward to the next news of the day. The Anthropocene epoch has been in the news because recently the International Union of Geological Sciences rejected the proposal of terming a new geological epoch as Anthropocene epoch. This forms an important component of your GS1 paper under the theme of important geophysical phenomena. Now, according to modern scientists, the evolution of life which took place on Earth is started as a chemical reaction which ultimately assembled over a period of time to give birth to various kind of life forms which we see today. The record of the various kind of life forms which existed on our planet is found in the rock in the form of fossils. The study of these fossils is called as stratigraphy, which is the part of geology. For example, the earliest life form started appearing around 3,800 million years ago in the form of blue-green algae or a unicellular bacteria. From then we see that as the ocean started flourishing with oxygen, we see the emergence of marine invertebrates, then fish, then amphibians, and then reptiles. Then there existed an age of dinosaurs who became extinct in the Cretaceous period. Finally, we see the emergence of humans in the form of hominins in the Miocene epoch of Tertiary period. Keep this in mind that currently we are living in Phanerozoic eon, which falls in Caneozoic era, and the Quaternary period. The epoch is termed as Holocene, and the age which we are living in is called as Meghalayan age. Thus, this Meghalayan age is started, or this Holocene period is started after an event which took place 11,700 years ago, which marks the decline of the last glacial period where almost 25 to 33% of the Earth's surface was covered by glaciers. The average temperature of Earth at that time was 8 degrees Celsius and the sea level at that time was 400 feet below than the today's time. Then 11,700 years ago, the climate of the Earth started warming, which also corresponds with the rise and proliferation of human activities. And since then, the human activities are unmissable from the peaks of Mount Everest to the depth of Mariana Trench. Thus, these changes which has been brought by humans to the planet is termed as Anthropocene, where the term anthropo stands for the changes caused by human activity. Thus, there are an Anthropocene working group which says that there marks an age called as Great Acceleration Period, which took place after World War II and specifically from the year 1952, since when the human activities has significantly altered the whole planet by skyrocketing of human population, burning of fossil fuels, fallout of nuclear test, or nitrogen-based fertilizers such as urea, which is impacting the soil fertility and so on, and the use of plastics, which has started covering the entire planet and creating patches of garbage in the ocean, impacting the marine life as well. Thus, this Anthropocene working group demanded to name the epoch as Anthropocene epoch and change it from the Holocene epoch. However, such proposal was rejected by the International Union of Geological Sciences on the ground that such terming of Anthropocene epoch is not supported by the standards. The standards where the boundaries between two epochs are represented by truly massive geological changes. For example, the boundary between Pleistocene and Holocene is marked by the decline of the last glacial period, since when the warming of Earth started taking place. On the other hand, such geological timescales are based on the records of solid rocks. And to support this argument of terming the Anthropocene epoch, the rock sediments which were presented from the Crawford Lake, which is in Ontario, Canada, it does not show any break between the Holocene and the Anthropocene. Also, according to a geologist, the terming of Anthropocene epoch after a millennia, since when we have cut the most of the forest on the planet for our agricultural uses, it does not hold any ground. But at the same time, keep this in mind that the human activity has significantly changed the climate of the planet as well as impacted all kind of life forms, which can be seen from the global warming which is taking place and the rising sea level. Thus, the idea of existing of an Anthropocene epoch where our activities has significantly transformed the planet, the argument does hold some ground. With this thought-provoking idea, we move forward to the next news of the day. The liquid funds are in the news because as per data by AMFI, among all the mutual funds, liquid funds has turned out to be the biggest gainers in the month of February 2024. This liquid funds forms an important component of your upcoming prelims paper under the theme of current affair. So let's first try to understand what are these liquid funds. When it comes to the investment of your hard-earned money and earn some financial returns, two kind of options comes in our mind. One is liquid fund and other is fixed deposit. Both of them offers distinct kind of financial returns and serves to different kind of financial goals. As per the definition by Security and Exchange Board of India (SEBI), the liquid funds are a type of debt mutual funds. What are mutual funds? Mutual funds are when there is a pool of investors such as A, B and C who invest in various kind of securities. And such securities can be in the form of debt or equity. Then these liquid funds are invested in short-term money market instruments while fixed deposit are invested in long-term money market instruments. Such short-term money market instruments are treasury bills, commercial papers and certificate of deposits. So let's try to understand each one of them in brief. Treasury bills are short-term debt instrument issued by the Government of India with maturity date of three kinds: 91 days, 182 days and 364 days. Keep this in mind that such treasury bills are zero coupon securities, which means that they do not offer any interest rate, rather they are issued at a discounted price. What does this mean? It means that if the government requires 80 rupees, it is going to issue a debt of 100 rupees. You can purchase this at a discounted price of rupees 80. And on the date of maturity, let's say 91 days, it will be returned to you by the government, and the government will now give you 100 rupees as the face value was 100 rupees. Then there comes the commercial papers, which are issued by a private player, again being the short-term debt instrument, and they act as a promissory note. The maturity here is from 7 days to 1 year. Similarly, the certificate of deposits are also kind of promissory notes who has the same maturity date of 7 days to 1 year, but these promissory notes are issued on the lieu of deposits in the banks. And such deposit can be minimum of rupees 1 lakh. The maturity of such liquid funds are from few days to few months, typically maturing within the 91 days. Now, these liquid funds are preferred by most of the investors because of two primary reasons. The first is that they offer high liquidity, because as an investor, if I want to take back the deposit which I had done, I can do that typically within 24 hours. At the same time, they have very low risk profile. Why? Because first of all, they have short term nature, and at the same time, these investments are made in those debt which has high credit rating. But at the same time, keep this in your mind that these liquid funds are not completely risk proof, because it was seen in the case of IL and FS fiasco. Also, now if we compare the liquid funds with fixed deposits, then these liquid funds offer certain kind of advantages, such as these liquid funds do not have any lock-in period, which means I can recall my investment at any time. At the same time, these liquid funds are taxed lower than the fixed deposit, thus offering high concession in taxes. Also, they are safer than fixed deposits because they are invested in multiple kind of securities, thus channeling down the risk from one particular kind of investment. Also, as per recent SEBI guidelines, the one liquid fund investor can invest maximum of its 20% assets in one particular sector. Also, all securities in the portfolio of the investor shall be valued at the prevailing market price. These were the recent guidelines issued by the SEBI to regulate these liquid funds, which are high in demand, as can be seen from their recent growth. Keep these facts very dear to you for the upcoming prelims examination, and we move forward to the last news of the day. President's standards and colors has been in the news because recently two Indian Air Force fighter squadrons and two static units get President standards and colors. This news forms an important component of your prelims examination under the theme of current affairs. The President Standards and Colors, also known as Rashtrapati Ka Nishan, is the highest honor awarded to any military unit. And this highest honor is awarded to all three defense services, being the Army, Navy and Indian Air Force. Well, for the first time in the history, 4 units of Indian Air Force were awarded in the very single ceremony, thus highlighting the commitment, the courage and the sacrifices of Indian Air Force during the wartime, as well as various operations which it has performed for the country. Keep this in mind that the first such President Standards and Colors Award was given in the year 1951 to Indian Navy by our first President Rajendra Prasad. Also, it is not mandatory for any defense service to carry the President's color and standards in the battle. Now, the bravery and the selfless service which these soldiers perform to secure the integrity of the nation shall be awarded with much more honors like this. With this noble thought, we have reached to the end of the discussion today. Do not forget to attempt the questions at the end of the video, and we will meet in a very interesting discussion very soon. Till then, all the very best for your preparation, and thank you.